It feels good to be sarcastic.
Once upon a time, it wasn't exactly flattering to be labeled a Miranda.
Sexy is the thing I try to get them to see me as after I win them over with my personality.
She was the cynical pessimist.
Soulmates only exist in the Hallmark aisle in Duane Reade drugs.
And the least glamorous of the Sex and the City crew.
I'm never gonna be a girly girl.
After all, it's hard to imagine Carrie, Charlotte, or Samantha willingly getting adult braces.
Am I hideous?
But in today's world, there are many people who would proudly call themselves Mirandas.
I like my life. I love my job. I love my friends.
Because nearly 20 years after the first episode aired, she's the character who appears most like a role model in our times. There's even a We Should All Be Mirandas t-shirt, playing on the book title We Should All Be Feminists. We still might rather trade closets with one of the other women, but Miranda is the one with the inner qualities that are most enviable.
I want to enjoy my success, not apologize for it.
Bravo, honey, bravo.
So here's why Miranda Hobbs is the Sex and the City character who's aged the best and feels most relevant to our lives today. Before we go on, be sure to hit subscribe and click the bell to get notifications on all of our new videos.
How does it happen that four such smart women have nothing to talk about but boyfriends? It's like 7th grade with bank accounts. What about us?
Miranda is a nonconformist when it comes to the premise of the show she's on. Sex and the City is so much about analyzing the ins and outs of dating, there's an implicit assumption that relationships are all important. But Miranda calls the other women out for obsessing over men.
Give me a call when you're ready to talk about something besides men for a change.
She's the one who most often notices sexist double standards.
A 34-year-old guy with no money and no place to live because he's single, he's a catch. But a 34-year-old woman with a job and a great home because she's single is considered tragic.
So in this sense, she's the devil's advocate of the show. She voices what the critics among us are sometimes thinking.
Jesus, every time you get near him, you turn into this pathetic, needy, insecure victim. And the thing that pisses me off the most is that you're more than willing to go right back for more.
Miranda also refuses to conform to anyone else's expectations of how her life should look or what qualifies as success.
My sister and her husband want me to third wheel with them down the aisle. God forbid that I should walk it alone, because that would be the real tragedy, right? Ignore the coffin. There's a single 35-year-old woman walking behind it.
What's funny is that by today's standards, she has so much going for her. A great career as a high-powered lawyer, close friends, and complete independence. But even when she seems to be at the top of the world, people around her don't always see it that way.
Look, he's out there for you somewhere. You just haven't met him yet, right?
Maybe, maybe not. I don't know if I believe all that.
It's pretty amazing that Miranda is able to buy her own Manhattan apartment in her 30s, but she has to face judgment for doing it while single.
So, it's just you?
Yep, just me.
Such a big apartment to buy for just you.
And when she hires Magda as her cleaning lady, it proves she's financially stable and settled in her career. But then she has to deal with Magda's view that she should focus more on baking and marriage.
It's good for a woman to make pies.
In spite of all this, Miranda never lets anyone make her feel ashamed of her life choices. She takes full ownership of them.
I drink coffee and have sex and buy pies and enjoy battery-operated devices. If you can't deal with that, I will find another housekeeper who can.
Superficially, Miranda and Samantha may seem polarized on the show, as the sexiest and least sexy of the main characters. But in some ways, Miranda's dating philosophy is most similar to Samantha's. Both are resistant to the sweet, touchy-feely moments that their boyfriends initiate.
How long are we gonna do this?
You want a time frame for cuddling?
And unlike Carrie and Charlotte, they don't rely on men to fulfill their emotional needs.
I believe that there's that one perfect person out there to complete you.
And if you don't find him, what, you're incomplete? It's so dangerous.
Sometimes it even seems like Miranda and Samantha struggle to see men as complex individuals. So when Miranda meets Steve in season 2, what makes him different is that he forces her to see him as a real person.
I'll have another glass of wine.
Please.
Please what?
I'll have another glass of wine, please.
Are you allowed to talk to me like that?
Yeah, I think I am.
And Miranda doesn't just dish it out, she can take it too. When she tells Carrie and Berger about a date she went on and asks Berger for a guy's opinion, he tells her,
I'm not gonna sugarcoat it for you. He's just not that into you.
For some of us, this blunt message would be demoralizing. But for Miranda, it's freeing, even empowering.
I love it. It is the most liberating thing I have ever heard. Think how much time and therapy I could have saved over the last 20 years if I had known this.
Because she's all about facing the facts. We, the viewers, love how honest Miranda is.
What about you, Miranda? Seeing anyone special?
Actually, no, but I am seeing a whole bunch of unspecial guys.
But sometimes her honesty can border on cynicism because she's only seeing the ugly truths. And in these moments, Miranda's best quality turns into a bit of a fatal flaw.
My God, Miranda, you are so judgmental.
After they sleep together, Miranda's skeptical of Steve's good intentions.
I like you.
Translation. I think you're an easy lay and I'd like to have sex again.
No, it's not like that.
But over time, he eases her cynical side. He teaches her that sometimes nice people really are just nice. And Miranda comes to see that this kind, earnest guy is Steve's authentic self. Even though Miranda is skeptical of Charlotte's idea that there's one special person who can complete you, she finds there's some truth in it after all, because Steve has what she herself is missing, that naive, open, trusting faith in other people. And of course, the one thing Miranda's not at all cynical about is her friendships. She's loyal and compassionate, and she always shows up for the people she cares about.
But if I'm totally wrong and it is a huge mistake, I need to know you'll be there for me.
I'm there.
Friendship is something Miranda takes really seriously, and she expects her friends to be there for her in the same way.
If you fell or something, I would never send my boyfriend to help you. And yes, I know I don't have a boyfriend.
Miranda stands strong in rebelling against conventions she doesn't believe in, but she also comes to realize that some traditional things do actually make her happy, and allowing those into her life doesn't make her a sellout. When she gets pregnant after sleeping with Steve while they're broken up, she has doubts about motherhood.
I'm gonna be a terrible mother.
But after she doesn't put pressure on herself to be a stereotypical mom, she finds herself totally in love with baby Brady. She also puts her own spin on things when she eventually proposes to Steve.
Will you marry me?
And stands firm on not wearing white at her wedding.
I said no white, no ivory, no nothing that says virgin. I have a child. The jig is up.
So Miranda's character is revolutionary in how she shows that you don't have to be either the career woman or the happy wife and mom. You can do both in a way that suits you. Miranda does go through some hard times though as she tries to find that right balance. She has to make big sacrifices because she's chosen to have a family, like moving to Brooklyn, which in her eyes is the same as Siberia.
I can't move to Brooklyn. Even cabs won't go there.
And later, having Steve's mom move in with them. In retrospect, we can see that Miranda's move to Brooklyn was just another way she was ahead of the curve, as today it's one of the trendiest, most desirable destinations for young Miranda types. But in the story, these big changes disrupt the independence and control Miranda loves having over her life. So her arc disproves the idea that settling down is always a fairy tale ending. This is even more overt in the Sex and the City movie, where we see Steve and Miranda really struggling with their marriage, and Steve admits to cheating on her.
I had sex with someone else.
But in the end, Miranda learns to deal with messiness and disappointment. Just because her life isn't perfect doesn't mean there aren't good things worth holding on to. A big part of what fans love about Sex and the City is the escapism of it, the way Carrie and her friends live life like it's all a big New York adventure, and how there's a beautiful backdrop even to their down moments. But these days, people often criticize this aspect of the show, how it gives viewers a completely unrealistic vision of being a young single woman in the city. So maybe it's because we never see Miranda's life through these rose-colored glasses that her problems resonate the most today. She's the exception to the show's charmed glamour. She's the one who finds herself stuck in a rut so many times, living vicariously through a TV show.
If there wasn't a Jules and Mimi marathon on BBC America this weekend, I'd have jumped out the window.
Ordering Chinese takeout so much the place knows her order by heart.
Brown sauce with brown rice, cold noodles. I know, every night the same.
And unable to stop herself from eating chocolate cake straight out of the garbage.
Your good friend Miranda Hobbs has just taken a piece of cake out of the garbage and eaten it.
These unglamorous rock-bottom moments make Miranda feel uncomfortably close to home. When Sex and the City was on the air, there was still a stigma around women having the qualities that made Miranda who she was. Abrasiveness,
Because you're an asshole!
strong opinions,
So what, they get a medal for correctly identifying a feeling? We do that all day long. I feel pissed off. Ta-da!
and a resistance to going with the flow.
I miss ESPN and NPR and Dateline. I am not the honeymoon type.
But these days, Miranda's realism and rawness are qualities we try to emulate. And it's just no longer cool to hate on a woman for owning her intelligence and calling it like she sees it. Because Miranda Hobbs had the guts to go against the grain back then, the character has endured as someone we look up to now.
I hope what I'm gonna say will save you a lot of time and energy. He's just not that into you. So move on. Have a great day.
I'm Deborah.
I'm Susanna, and we're the creators of Screen Prism.
If you like our videos, please subscribe. Down there.